I'm live. That's a minute early. Wasn't expecting to be live this early, but that's okay. Oh, I gotta get pictures, but I'll wait for people to come in before I leave. Hi, Nature Fan. My life has changed a little bit since the last time we spoke. More about that once everybody is in. Because I don't want to say it a bunch of times. Hey, carry me through. I have news, but I'm going to wait and give it once I have everything set up. Among other things, yes. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. I don't like. I like my Chromebook, but sometimes I don't like it. I will be right back. I gotta grab pictures. I thought I had more time, but I didn't. So, my life is interesting this weekend. I'm gonna be babysitting for a kitten. I'm gonna be kitty sitting. I don't know what that'll mean for live. But yeah, I'm going to be babysitting for an itty bitty kitty. I think it's about, I forget exactly how old, but it's still nursing. I think it's on a 4-hour schedule. So that has me excited. I've never been around a Well, no, that's a lie. I've been around newborn kitties, just not that young. So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. It could mess up live a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. If there's anybody in live who doesn't know me, hi, I'm Charlie, and this is the Natureverse 4.7. And today we will be looking at two pests. Now, they are insects and they're pests. What we're not going to do is we are not going to talk about pest control. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to educate, not to tell you what to use if you end up with this animal in your garden. One of them will be the Colorado potato beetle, and the other is the tomato hookworm. Yeah, I have never seen the Colorado potato beetle, but I do have experience with the tomato hookworm. So let's talk about the Colorado potato beetle first. So that's what he looks like. Yeah, this one doesn't have a mom. So that is the beetle. Now, this guy is a major pest throughout North America. They have always been here. Potatoes haven't. So this guy is going to feed on nightshades, native and the domestic variety. Things like eggplants, tomatillo, peppers, tomatoes, ground cherries, and any other plants that might be in the nightshade family. So this all starts in the fall, or in the spring, I'm sorry. The adults become active in the spring, around the same time that potato plants start coming up. After the adults emerge, they do what any other animal is going to do. They're going to mate. And the females will lay 10 to 30 eggs. They will be yellowish orange on the underside of the leaves. The female will lay up to 350 eggs during her lifetime. I will find out, but I will look it up once I'm done with what I have. Now, she's only going to live for a few weeks, so that 350 eggs is kind of tricky. The eggs will hatch 2 weeks after being laid, and when the young hatch, they are brick red, but change to a pink or salmon color with dark heads, with black heads. The larvae have 2 rows of dark spots on each side of the body. Adults and larvae both feed on the plants and can strip a potato plant to nothing. That and other nightshades. The adults are oval or roundish shaped, around 3/8 of an inch long, or 10 to 8 or 8 to 10 millimeters. They have a yellowish orange prothorax right behind the head, and a yellowish white wing covers that have 10 narrow black stripes on them. Now, the larvae are going to spend 10 days on the plant. Once they reach the 4th instar, they will fall off the plant, transform, or fall off the plant. Yes, they are a beetle. They will fall off the plant and bury into the dirt, where they will transform into a pupa. The adults will spend winter, or not necessarily adults, but the pupa will, possibly the adults will spend winter 5 to 10 inches underground. And as for the question about why they're called Colorado potato beetles, they were first identified as a major pest of potato crops in the Colorado region. They originally fed on buffalo burr, which is a type of nightshade that grew in that area. But once the settlers brought potatoes with them, or introduced potatoes to the West, that's when they started to spread. Because now they're feeding on the potato. They have another food source. There's lots of them. And so Colorado potato beetle became the name. Dum. I hate when I do that. Yes, Mecha Godzilla. No. I mean, Mecha Godzilla is up there, but there's a lot of other stuff up there too. Let me give you this because I forgot to give you guys this when I came in, so I will give it to you now. That is the potato beetle's scientific name. I forgot to put it in. I think Mothra is on the other side. Yeah, Mothra, I have 2 bookshelves, and Mothra is on the other bookshelf. Oh. Okay. I think. No, not okay. Now, I'm not here to talk about, again, just as a reminder, I'm not here to talk about how to get rid of the insects that we're talking about tonight, but we have to respect the hustle. And these beetles are like tiny outlaws of the garden. They show up, they take over, and they leave nothing behind. They even have the prison stripes to match the persona. I want to know who the real gardeners are in the chat. What is one pest or villain in your yard that you can't seem to beat? Is it the potato beetle, the deer, or maybe the squirrels? Let me know in chat. Tell me your gardening nemesis. You know what? Doctor Who, what, where? If I had the money to buy a Neanderthal skull, I would. But I don't have the money to do it. So that's that. Aphids. Yeah, aphids are an issue. In the spring, when we get our tomato plants planted, it quickly becomes our next insect. Our next insect looks like that. Not the showiest of insects, but that's what it looks like in its adult form. This is what it looks like in its larval stage. In its caterpillar stage. Now, the tomato hornworm goes by a couple different names. The tomato hornworm, tomato hornworm moth, and the five-spotted hawk moth, which is what it is. It is a hawk moth. This is a fairly heavy-bodied insect with narrow front wings. Being a moth, they are not brightly colored, although some moths are. It looks like a cicada. I don't know. I don't see it, but maybe. It has a wingspread of 4 to 5 inches. They are molted gray-brown in color with yellow spots on the abdomen. Hind wings are light with dark bands. So they have sort of bands that are light, dark, light, dark, light. Yeah, sort of similar. I could see that. Now, females will deposit their eggs on the lower and also the upper leaf surface. And those eggs are green. So you have a green plant that's totally green with green eggs. So could be hard to miss if you're growing tomatoes. Once those eggs hatch and the caterpillars emerge, they will spend 3 to 4 weeks mowing down on that tomato plant until they reach full size. At which point, the caterpillar will drop off the plant and then either dig into the soil and turn into a pupa. 2 weeks later, an adult will emerge and the cycle begins all over again. However, that is not the end of the story, because she will lay eggs. Those eggs will again turn into a turn into a caterpillar, and the caterpillar will feed. The caterpillars will attack the fruits. Yes. Now, one thing we've learned on this channel is there is always a predator. There's always somebody that is in for the game. Something that is out there waiting to pounce. And it could be birds, but in this case, it is something far worse than birds. In this case, it is a wasp. A brachioid wasp, and they are a parasite. They come around and they literally lay eggs in the caterpillar. And the caterpillar will eat, get nice and fat. The whole time the wasps are enjoying caterpillar. They form little white cocoons once they emerge from the caterpillar, and then basically it's game over. Now, the caterpillar is basically eaten alive, so it is not pleasant in any means, but at the same time, it is game over, and that caterpillar will not be transforming into a moth. With that being said, you might see white ovals on a hornworm and think they're eggs, but the truth is much, much more intense. Those are the survival pods of a tiny secret agent, the brachionid wasp. They've already done their work inside, and now they're preparing to take over the garden. Sort of. Sort of. I'm going to show you a picture. And I'm not going to lie, it's a little brutal. But it's not gross. I don't think it's gross. I do not have a count for this picture. I'm just saying. That is what it looks like. How many wasp cocoons do you see? Each one of those white, sort of oval-shaped items are wasp cocoons. And they will emerge from those cocoons as a wasp, ready to go out of their way to find food. They are pretty brutal. But yeah, so those are a gardener's friend, so to speak. Now, these guys didn't always feed on tomatoes, so there was probably they were feeding on other nightshades. But because tomatoes are a nightshade, they're bigger plants. There you go. And now, seeing these white cocoons on a caterpillar's back is enough to make anyone do a double take. And it raises a lot of questions about how nature works behind the scenes. And honestly, maybe that's my favorite part of the Natureverse is the things that you don't know, the things that you are yet to know, if that makes sense. So, I did 25 minutes and 19 seconds, sort of. So now I'm opening up the floor to do something I haven't done in a while. Rather, it's about the parasitic wasp, the sphinx moth, the hawk moth, or anything else that's on your mind. Now is your time to drop questions in chat, and let's dig into whatever questions are lurking inside your mind. And the time is yours. If you have questions. And hopefully you do. Otherwise, it's going to be a really long live. No. I'm not aware. I'm not aware of any threat. No. They don't sting. Well, let me step back. They are not aggressive towards humans, pets, or livestock. That being said, they might sting if handled. But from what I'm reading, the sting is harmless. Is tobacco a member of the nightshade family? I believe it's pretty close. Yes, it is in the Soliense, sorry if I messed that up, family. It is in the nightshade family. However, it belongs to a different genus. It belongs to the genus Nicotina. I messed that up. I know I did. And there is a different hornworm that feeds on tobacco. So, this is not the same insect. Just putting it out there. I would think not. Nightshades, though, are a plant or a family that has some very interestingly toxic plants in it. And if you think about it, green potatoes are toxic. The fruit that a potato plant produces is toxic. There might be a little bit of toxicity in tomato plants, but a lot of the, I believe so. I believe it's a different hawk moth. I believe it's called a tobacco hornworm. And they actually look very similar to the tomato hornworm. The biggest difference is that, from what I can tell, there are differences. The forewings look pretty close. The hind wings are different. And these yellow spots that you see are orange spots. So they're very different. A little bit different. But they're also preyed upon or parasite. I cannot talk tonight. They're also going to be have parasites with that. Like the difference between head lice and body lice. Now you're making my head crawl. In a different lifetime, at least once or twice a year at work, head lice was an issue. Thank goodness I never had it while I was working. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Maybe that difference. I'm thinking maybe Carrie left or she's really being quiet. Now, if you had to get one of those, either the head lice or the body lice, head lice is the one to get. And man, hate talking about lice. I'm having, usually it doesn't bother me to ask questions as I'm doing live, but I've not been sleeping good. And I noticed it while I was doing a little bit of gaming before live. Really distracted. Yeah. Oh, I believe it. I heard, and I don't know if it's true, there are only two species of animal. Well, uh, if you call us animals, that carry pubic lice. Us and mountain gorillas. Don't even. That's what I've read. I don't know if it's true. Don't come at me. We are apes. Yes. More precisely, we're hominids. With a long line of animals that, well, let's not call them animals. Let's call them human-ish. Hairless apes. Yes. There, I heard via National Geographic today a story about a bonobo. Do you guys know what bonobos are? They're basically pygmy chimps. Although we don't really use that term, I don't think, too much anymore. They had an ape that was communicating with her keepers. Or he was. Sorry, he was. He was able to communicate with his keepers to the point where he was communicating, translating for them for the other bonobos. So mind blowing. I mean, we know that gorillas are capable of learning sign language. How cool is that? And another thing that I've seen really cool, and it's using AI, where they are taking mummies and using AI, they are bringing them back to life. It is mind blowing and a little bit scary, but it is so cool. Was almost brought to tears earlier today. They had these casts in Pompeii where people died from the volcano, the ashes, and were buried. They took a child that was in the catacombs and a man, and they brought them back to life using AI. It brought me to tears. They absolutely do use tools. Um, Sticks used to dig out termites out of their nest. Chimpanzees are one of the few apes that I know of who carry out planned hunts against other primates. A trait you don't usually think of when you think of primates. Um, just sometimes nature is amazing. Yeah, unfortunately, we are a force to be reckoned with. And the worst part is, we don't seem to care. Um, we are we are horrible. Um, they we I don't even know what to say. I really don't. No, I don't think so. There is definitely, as I'm not a biologist, okay, but I'm definitely a naturalist. But I believe, no, I know that there is life out there. Do I believe that it's reptilian? Do I believe that they're these big-eyed gray aliens that people say come to Earth? No, I don't. But I do believe there's life out there. What form it comes in, I don't know. But there is definitely life out there. And yes, I agree. Nature is beautiful. It comes in so many different forms that it's hard sometimes to comprehend. A lot of it. I mean, in our solar system, a lot of it's going to be microscopic. And if it's going to exist, it's going to be Mars. I think the other planets, and although look at some of the habitats on Earth where you would think that life couldn't exist, and yet it does, like the hot smokers down in the ocean. They're living literally off of chemicals. And there's bacteria in Yellowstone Park that feed off of chemicals as well. So anything is possible. I don't believe that you're going to find living, breathing, sentient life in the solar system. But who knows? I don't know if we will ever reach a point where we're going to be at the level of Star Trek. There are definitely other planets where potentially life could grab hold. I personally think it would be really cool to be a part of that first contact. But uh, my and I have people who will ask me about Bigfoot. And I had the same problem with Bigfoot that I do with people from, and I say people because what else do you want me to call them? Visitors from other places that I'm I'm afraid that if these beings come to Earth, that humanity will treat them like we would treat a new animal found in the ocean, a specimen to be played with. It'd be like that episode from the Orville where they have sentient life set up in a zoo. Yeah, that's the way I see it. And and that's the great thing about this is we can have different opinions on things because that's what makes for a as long I don't care if people don't agree with my views on things as long as it stays what's the word I'm looking for? I'm telling you guys sometimes my brain is gone. Yeah, supposedly if you believe the government um they've already been here. um I hope that if we did have visitors that we could lay aside our mindsets and work together. Yeah, respectful. Be respectful. That's all I ask. Well, if you know what, the way I look at it is if we had to start over and we didn't have differences in opinions, what would my way of thinking isn't always the best? And sometimes my view of things is spot on, but not always. After all, I'm human. I think there's a lot that we don't understand. I also think that some things are best left alone. I've never ever used it as an insecticide, but it is a toxin, so maybe I try my best as a person to not use insecticides. We have um tortoiseshell beetles that attack um our eggplants, and typically, well, they attack the leaves. Typically, they don't do that much damage. Last year was the first year that I can honestly say it was bad. Not necessarily. Um, I am trying to wean Cyrus, my brother's pit bull, away from snacks to go into his kennel. It's not going good, guys. It is not going good. You guys on Friday may get to meet Lucky. That's the name of the kitten that I'll be babysitting. I'm not going to pause live to feed him, so you might get to see him feeding. I don't know. It's a possibility. I don't know if I have pictures. I don't know. Yes. He'll do it for my brother. He will go into his kennel for me or for his dad, but he won't do it for me at all. If I say cheese and I walk into the kennel and sprinkle some in his kennel, or I hold the cheese over his kennel, he'll go in. But verbally, he looks at me like I'm dumb. So this is Lucky. That's Lucky. In that picture, he looks like he's sleeping. He looks like he's a gray tabby. But who knows? But I get to play with them. I'm excited, but at the same time, never had to deal with a baby that small. Usually by the time I'm dealing with them, they are bigger. What? Oh. Not what I thought it was. Um, no. I I don't I don't worry about, for the most part, I'm more worried about getting bit by a cat. Scratches are an issue. Like my brother's cat, I love her. She's a great cat, but she would probably bite me if I picked her up. She's tried to bite me. So, and she's not a mean cat. She's just sometimes a spicy cat. Now, Doctor Who, what, where? I can also tell you that my brother has a German Shepherd, and the only if she once she is inside and she's had her lunch, her whatever you want to call it, her food, she'll go outside and come back in, and all I have to say is kennel, and she'll go to her kennel, and she'll go into her kennel, and then she'll wait for me to close it up. And I'm lucky that I can even pet her before she goes into the kennel. I've told my brother that I really think she was abused. She just is really weird about. She'll let you pet her, but she's. Mm-mm. So, like, if you touch her when she has her back to you, she circles around. I don't know if that's to see who's touching her or what that is, but it's something. But yes, any other questions? Doctor Who, you wanted to see Morthra. If I stand up, you're going to see a side of me that you probably don't want to see. But Rodan, on the other hand, Rodan I have. Rodan is down where I can get to him. I don't believe that this is the Rodan that I grew up with. I think this is the more modern take on Rodan, like from the 90s into maybe early 2000s. Yeah. Ultraman right there. Dragon, not a Pegasus. Pegasus. Two more dragons on the shelf behind me that aren't visible. Easily over 100 animals. I haven't counted exactly, but there's a lot. You know, I don't blame him either, but I don't think it would be good for the house for him to be out of his kennel without people there. Cyrus, yesterday, with me there, he walked up to a box of DVDs, lifted his leg, and sprayed. That's why he can't be out when there's nobody there, because he will spray. Yep. And that's why he can't be by himself. I need to talk to my sister-in-law about something. Um, yeah. I'm hoping he'll purr. I I guess there were originally at least 3 kittens. My sister said that 2 of them didn't make it and they don't know where mom is. They got into the garage somehow at my sister's house, and that's where she found them. Anyway, guys, if there is nothing else, if you have no other questions, no other thoughts, I'm going to sign off. I'm hungry, and I need to get some stuff done. Nature fan, thank you for coming in, carrying me through. Thank you for being here. Doctor Who, What, and Where, if you haven't subscribed, hope to see you on Friday. At 1 p.m. Oh, wait. I have to do that, don't I? Yes, I do. I forgot. Not yet. Not yet. You guys don't know what's coming up. Friday, we are doing steps as a habitat. So step and wooded step. And then habitat focus at 6 p.m. will be pine barrens and hardwood swamps. We are doing extinct animals on Saturday. We will be doing, I believe, 2 birds. The first one is this guy that I'm pretty sure is Hawaiian. Yes, steppe. And then it'll be paired up with something else. And then at 6 p.m. we're going to do the Pyrenean ibex at 6 p.m. Upcoming videos, when I actually get to them, will be horsehair worm, Swanee moxkin shell, Swanee River as a habitat, karst, and then spiders for 7 days. And with that, guys, I will see you in the next one. Be good. No, I don't want you to read. It reconnected me.